Hello and welcome to the last webinar in our series for the 2014 International Home and Houseware Show. There's still time to get lots of value out of marketing opportunities at the show and after the show, and we're going to talk to you about what those are today. I'm Perry Reynolds, and I'm here with Debbie Teschke and Nancy Michael. All of our contact information is on the screen here. I will remind you that this webinar is being recorded, so that if any of your teammates need to listen to it, it'll be posted on our website probably by tomorrow. And we will repeat our contact information. I would encourage you to ask us any questions anytime. We're happy to answer them, whether it has something to do with what goes on in this webinar or whether it has another subject. If it's directly related to your booth, I think you should talk to your sales manager, but if it's related to marketing, I think you should direct it to one of the three of us, and we'd be happy to answer. During the webinar, we will take your questions, and we're happy to take them. Use your chat function to submit questions, and we have someone who's reading those questions, and we'll either respond directly to you or send them through to us as we speak. But to get us started, we, of course, know that each of you is coming to the show with a set of goals. I think it's important for you to formalize those goals before you come to the show. They will have a lot to do with the way you market yourself at the show. They'll have a lot to do with the kind of results you get from the show if you're focused on those goals. We know that some of you are there to increase sales, to find new customers, to meet the boss, from buyers to reach international markets. I think some of the things we're going to talk about, including the very last one on this list, generating consumer interest through media exposure, in the next hour or so, I think we'll be able to get you going to take care of those goals. I think it's important for your goals that it's important to be specific. It's important to be realistic. It's important to use the resources that we've got. And I also encourage you, and we'll talk about this a couple of times as we go along, I'd also encourage you to create a follow-up plan before you go to the show. Not get home and sort out all those business cards or whatever it is you're going to be using and to create a follow-up list, and we have a couple of options for you there. But so that you know in advance exactly how you're going to attack that when you get home. We're going to break up the presentation today into three sections. How to attract buyers, Housewares Connect 365, which actually focuses on buyers, media, and consumers. And then Debbie will talk about how to reach the consumer through the show. Believe it or not, Debbie has a great story to tell about how many consumer impressions we get based on the show, and it's certainly simple and not very costly to get your share of that as well. And Debbie will talk about that later on. All the things we're going to talk about today, plus some that have already actually lapsed, sadly, are in our exhibitor marketing kit. Housewares.org/marketing is your guide for all of this. Links to each of the things we're going to talk about here are there, and we'd encourage you to write that down, to use that as your tool. I think based on some of the conversations we've had already, I know many of you are already using this and using it well, but for those of you who are not, this is your access to all of that. Some of you received this kit in paper in the fall, but of course everything is active and up to date on our site. I'm going to break down my part of the presentation, which has to do with attracting buyers, to what you can do before the show, what you can do to bring attention to yourself during the show, and again, that notion of show follow-up, I think that's pretty important. So we'll mention that as we go along. I think there are three things that you can do before the show. One of them is the buyer list. One of them is an innovation alert, which we'll talk about in a second, and then follow up more on later. And the last one is Housewares Connect 365. I think the most important item that any exhibitor gets at the show is the free buyer list. And if you've been with the show for years, I think you have been able to build over time probably the best database of potential buyers that is available anywhere. We used to buy lists to market to people. We now recognize that our list is the most current, the most meaningful, There are actually 3 lists there when you go to this site. The link to download the list is there on the page. You will need 2 things to download the list. You will need your company ID and your seniority number, which will be your username and password. It will give you access to 3 Excel lists. The first list is U.S. buyers. The second list is international buyers, and the third list is media. And Debbie will talk more about that later. Important to note, if you have capabilities with Excel, which is I think a fairly commonly used database tool, you can sort this list by retail channel, by the buyer's responsibility, and by the products they say they're coming to the show to buy. Important to note that this is actually the registration record for each one of these buyers. So if they told us their full title, it's there. Of course, first and last name, phone number, fax number. Believe it or not, fax. We don't get faxes anymore, so fax is and can be very important. It's a part of your marketing plan. Mail as well. We're getting close to the show, but we have 3.5 weeks left to go until we kick off. But again, I think most retailers are beginning to focus on the show now. You can also sort the international list by country if you wish to do that. You can sort the U.S. list by state if you need to. But most importantly, I think sorting by retail channel. If you would like to sort out a list of all of the owners of specialty retailer stores who come to the show, you can do that, and then you can sort even farther down by the products they come to buy. I think you'll find that of the 19 or 20 product categories, one of those will be very close to the product that you're bringing to the show. One of the things that we recommend, and actually it's something we discovered from talking to an exhibitor, is that we recommend that you touch the buyers you want to see 3 times. You can do that in a variety of ways. You can send them a postcard. You can send them you can send them a letter. You can give them a call. You can send them a fax. One thing I did not mention is the email addresses are not available here. I'll tell you how you can email interface with buyers in just a minute, and also how you can collect those emails at the show. But it was important to them that they control their email addresses, and as a consequence, they have asked us not to make them available. I will tell you, though, that the exhibitor that we talked to last year, who was new at the show last year, who gave us the story about the 3 touches, was one of the busiest booths at the show. They were rocking the whole show. They were writing orders, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, because that's another way to get buyers to your booth. As you reach out to them, if you're having show specials, certainly you want to inform them about the show specials, or that you have them. You may want to keep the mystery going until they get there, but you certainly want to have a reason to bring them to your booth. The innovation alert is something we'll talk about later in conjunction with the new product showcase. We actually send several days before the show. We send a list to every buyer in our database, domestic and international, telling them all of the new products that will be available at the show, and those new products are based on the submissions to the new product showcases, which we still have a few more days to get in, and we'll talk about that in a second. But this is another way before the show for you to let buyers know what you're doing at the show. I think the second most powerful tool that we offer now is Housewares Connect 365. This is free. There are other shows that charge you for listings and on their website. That is not the case with us. It's a very dynamic tool. I will share with you that it is a favorite of buyers. We hear this in feedback sessions with buyers that we have at the show. We hear it in freely given feedback. On the show floor, a lot of people use Housewares Connect 365 to plan their show. And believe it or not, with 1 million searches on Housewares Connect 365, we're probably reaching consumers there as well. In many cases, our site is search engine optimized to the degree that it may come back on a Google search even sooner than yours does. So I think it pays to pay attention to and use this free tool. As I mentioned, there were more than 1 million searches last year. We expect there will be at least that many this year. One thing to note, in our survey work, we found out that listings that show visuals product images, videos, and so forth were viewed significantly more frequently than those without catalogs. Happy to say there are almost every exhibitor now has some kind of visual, but it really does help to grab the buyer's eye. I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a minute. Buyers, as I mentioned, use this tool regularly and heavily. It allows them, if they create a personal briefcase on the site, it allows the Housewares Connect 365 allows them to save their searches, to create a custom floor plan. We'll show you what that looks like in a minute. They can communicate with you prior to the show because you've given us your contacts and your company email address, as well as the rest of your company contact information. They can use that to contact you if they wish. They can access their saved searches and floor plans at the show, so that it makes it easier to navigate. And of course, they have year-round access, and this is another part of that post-show plan, is to make sure that you go back and check Housewares Connect 365, because we go back to the buyers on a regular basis and ask them to go visit Housewares Connect 365 to see what the latest product is. You can be searched in a number of different ways. I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to guess that a significant, probably upwards of 90% of the searches are done as keyword searches. It is the default search, but you're also searchable by company name, by show category, by all the items that you see up there. We'll talk a little bit more about how you get some of those things listed, how you get yourself in some of those listings later on. How can it help you? Well, of course, it increases your searchability before the show, and in fact, year-round. We have a 500,000 annual visitors to our website. Many of them, as I mentioned, are consumers. Again, it's another opportunity for you to be present in front of the people that are looking for you. You can communicate directly with buyers and media through your exhibitor message center, and we'll talk about how to do that in just a second. You can add a company description that literally tells buyers and media why they should pay attention to you, if you've got some kind of event going on, that kind of thing at the show, you can mention that. But this is more to talk about what it is that your company stands for. You can add catalogs, product images, videos. You can add your company logo. We'll talk about how to do that, all that in just a second. You can add in-booth appearance information. That's particularly important to buyers and media, as Debbie will talk about later. You can add Made in America or show special alerts, and we'll talk about those in just a second. You can add information in PDF form, company events, news, celebrations, milestones, press releases, and so forth. Important to mention, though, that anything that's in a PDF format is not searchable through keyword search. So if you have PDFs of press releases and so forth, but there's something important there that you think people will need to know, make sure it's also included in your company description so that it can be found there as well. So here's where you go to update your listing. I'm going to guess that many of you on this call have already done this, but we're going to walk through it again for those of you who haven't. Again, just as with the buyer list, it's your company ID and seniority number. If you're having trouble finding that and have access to your contract, it's at the very top of your contract. If you don't, I encourage you to check with your show sales manager to make sure that you have access to Housewares Connect 365 and to the buyer list. One note at the bottom of this page that I think is worth mentioning, because it always happens 3 or 4 times a year to unsuspecting companies. There are other people out there who are selling listings in a guide of some sort, online guide, you name it, some other kind of search tool. I will tell you that we don't charge you for anything in terms of those kinds of search capabilities. Your listing on Housewares Connect and in our directories is free. There is no additional charge for you to list your basic company information in our directories and to complete Housewares Connect 365. There are opportunities that we will charge for to mention multiple brands inside your company or duplicate listings of companies. But if someone is approaching you and asking you to pay for a listing in a directory that's not related to the Housewares show, International Home and Housewares Show, please make certain that you read very carefully the contract information. The page in front of you is what you will land on after you go through that URL and get to and put in your and here's where you put in your company ID and seniority number and your name. And I'm going to track along the left-hand nav bar there and give you a sort of an update on what is inside here. The first thing on the top of the little envelope that you see is the message center. I mentioned that earlier. The message center gives you the opportunity to send messages to the mailboxes on our website, to the briefcase mailbox of any buyer or media person who is attending the show. You don't actually know exactly who you're sending it to because you select by category. And you can pick both retail channels and you can pick product categories that will help focus your message on those people who would be most interested in it. You get to send 3 before the show and 1 after the show. When a buyer, we send regular update emails to buyers about things that are going on at the show. If they have a message in their mailbox, we alert them to the fact that that message is there when we send those emails. So we'll do our part to make sure that they know they have messages. I would make this a part of, but not all of, your marketing plan to reach out to those people. You may end up finding people who you didn't know might be interested in your product through this tool, but I think using the buyer list and doing those 3 touches, I think, is probably the most important tool that you can use to reach out to buyers and media to get them to your booth. Going down the left-hand side of this, once you've logged in, you will be taken through a very simple tools, step-by-step tool, very similar to those tax software, the tax software that you're probably wrestling with now. One step at a time. First step is putting your company address in and your on-site contacts. If they change, we encourage you to change them on Housewares Connect 365. We are now past the deadline for the show directory, but even past the deadline for the show directory, I would encourage you to make sure they're as up-to-date as possible because buyers will be going in here all the way up to the last day of the show. You get to list in multiple contacts, U.S. sales, international sales, and especially retailer contacts are available too. If you have brands and licenses, you can list them here. They will show up in a separate listing on your Housewares Connect 365 page. You can select products as well. You can also update your company description. I mentioned that earlier when we were talking about ways to help people find you. I think it's important. There are several things that are important about your company description. One is that you should compose it in a tool that allows you to do editing. The last thing you want to do is just miss a comma or misspell a word. I would also so do it in Word or some other tool that gives you some kind of advice on spelling and so forth. Then have someone else in your organization read it. Then copy and paste it right into your company description here. You're free to update it. There's plenty of room in there. I think the longer you make it, the less likely it is to be read. Some of you may have used tricks in the past to, by putting in a word 6 or 7 times thinking it will return you more easily. That is not the case. Every return of any search on our site is alpha. There are no preferred return searches, so just give us your description, and any word in that will be part of the keyword search that most buyers will be using. Next step will be product images. You can put pictures up. You can put them up as many as you want. I believe up to 4 show on the site, but there's an arrow that will allow you to go look at 3 to 4 show on the site. There's an arrow that will let them go further to look at more of them. You can put them in the order you want. You can drag and drop them so that you can reorder the priority if you wish at any time. We encourage you to get those product images up. As I mentioned before, product images really do attract attention, and you should do that. You can put up product catalogs. Nancy is about to break in and tell me that, remember, this is a public site, and that that if your catalog has pricing information in it, you probably don't want to put it up here. Remember, your competitors can come and look at this too, right, Nancy?
You know, I don't have to say it. But this comes up often. It's about how big your catalog can be. So 10 megabytes would be the max if you want your catalog to be viewed. Otherwise, it takes too long to download. And at a certain point, it won't even let you upload your catalog if it's too big. The recommended is 1 megabyte, as that will open in about 10 seconds so people can see your catalog and flip through it.
Okay, thanks, Nan. The next item is company logo. Of course, your logo can put up there. It'll tell you what file type it needs to be in. But as you'll see when we get to showing you what a live page looks like, you'll see that the logo plays a very important visual part. I think it's important for you to put it up there. It's really simple to do. Company news is next, and that's really press releases and so forth. Again, those are all PDFs and non-searchable. But if you've got press releases, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about press kits. All the stuff that's in your press kit, you might want a PDF there as well. Company video, any video that is on YouTube, you can put here, and all you need to do is to bring over the link from YouTube, and it will show up on your Housewares Connect 365 site. If you don't have it on YouTube, I think it's fairly easy to get it up there, and I would encourage you to do that. You can do product demonstrations. You can do, if you ever participated in one of Debbie's press events in New York and had a video done of you there, you can put that in there. They're already on YouTube, but we put them up there if you've given us permission. We would encourage you to put as much video up there as you think is appropriate. Again, a lot of stuff up there may slow people down a little bit, just like Nancy was talking about relative to the catalog size. But we encourage you to put your best foot forward, both in product catalog, images, and video. There are a couple special marketing opportunities that are underneath that title there. The first is whether or not you have show specials. We don't want to know what they are, but buyers have asked us whether you have show specials, or whether companies have show specials, and could they show up on Housewares Connect 365. As a consequence, we ask you to do it. Don't put anything up there if you don't have a show special, because they're not going to be happy when they get to your booth. But if you do have a show special and you're using that, I would encourage you to make sure that you mention it there. The second thing there is Made in USA, and we have had tremendous interest from both domestic and international buyers. Apparently, consumers are driving this, that they're looking for companies that have products made in USA. There is a fairly detailed declaration that you have to make on Housewares Connect 365 saying that your product is made in the USA. Again, I believe that you need to be very straightforward with this, but it is an opportunity, if you have products made in USA, to reach buyers. As you'll see in just a second when we show you what the site looks like, there's a special search for both show specials and Made in USA. In addition, you'll get a sign if you verify that you're Made in USA. You'll get a sign delivered to you. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Meet the designers. If you have a designer coming to your booth, you can mention it here. In-booth appearances, same thing. If you've got a chef, an author, an expert, anybody coming to your booth, celebrity, we'd encourage you to put that here. We sometimes get people searching celebrity names. I think it becomes even more important, and Debbie will talk about it later with the media. I mentioned earlier that you can purchase duplicate directory listings. It's very rare that people do, but it's certainly available to you. If you want another full listing for a sub-brand of yours that's in your booth, there's information on how to get that listing done right here. You'll note that we asked you to tell us your name when you signed in, and one of the things we want to be clear is who in your company is making changes, so that if somebody else comes, they'll know who is the most recent one to update this. When you sign off, we'll record all that information, and then we'll very kindly say thank you. And so that is how you navigate this. And I've said it in about 4 or 5 or 6 minutes. It will take you longer than that, and you can do it at your pace. You can do it as slowly or as quickly as you want. I will tell you that if you sit on a page long enough, it may time out, so be careful about that. But don't be frustrated. Just go right on back in and get the job done. Now we want to show you what Housewares Connect 365 looks like. When buyers, media, or consumers come to the site, this is the page they find. You'll notice, as I said earlier, that the default is keyword, and they're able to type that keyword in, or they can do a drop-down and search on all those other items we talked about. I mentioned earlier that we have a couple of featured categories, pet supplies and Made in USA. I did not mention pet supplies, but buyers have told us that since there are pet supplies all over the show, they want a special listing of them, which we have obliged them with, and we'll check in with them again at the show when we have our advisory council meetings with retailers to make sure that's still important to them. Made in USA, of course, came to us in the same way. Also, you can print floor plans, view floor plans, and print exhibitor lists in a number of different ways. And this is also at the request of the buying community, so that they can better navigate the show. So that's what it looks like when you land. Let me show you what a listing looks like.
Perry, I have a couple of questions.
Oh, please.
What are good examples of some show specials?
Generally speaking, a show special is a product discount or a change in dating terms that buyers would not be able to get otherwise. Often it is a regular item. Sometimes it's a special item. Sometimes it's a special only available at the show item, say a smaller size fry pan or a different shaped knife or that kind of product. But generally speaking, the things that work best, I will share with you later that there's some great success stories. But generally speaking, it's an off-price or an extended terms or both kind of arrangement.
Another question I have is, if we are made in the USA but not in business for over 12 months, how do we let buyers know that we are made in the USA?
There are several ways to let them know. I'm going to guess that this person has been to our site and checked out that one of the things we ask is if they've been in business for over 12 months. They can still, if they are made in USA, they can still fill out that form, and they will get a sign from us and be listed in that listing. If for some reason they're not able to complete that form, they can list it in their company description. I would encourage you, again, to be scrupulous about this, because I've talked to a number of buyers who've been disappointed when they saw a Made in USA sign or a Made in USA declaration that they found later on was not correct. But they can also, you're also feel free to put it on, whether you sign up with us or not, feel free to put it on your booth signage as well.
And then I have another question that you had mentioned that the attendee listing does not have email addresses. Is this available to obtain even through a paid service?
No, it is not. Buyers have told us that in advance of the show they wish not to have their emails shared. I will tell you later on when we talk about lead retrieval devices at the show, and there are a few left, that is one way that you can get buyer emails, and we'll mention that a little bit later on. Any other questions?
Can the printed version of this, the printed version of this presentation, this webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website.
It will, and we feel free to share that with anybody else in your organization. If you've got a PR firm that you work with, I think Debbie would encourage you to share it with them as well.
And I've had a couple questions about videos being uploaded. It has to be YouTube videos, correct?
That is correct. It can only be YouTube videos.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. On the screen in front of you is, and this is not current, these are slightly older images, but I wanted to share with you what it looks like. We searched Joseph, which is an exhibitor at the show. As you can see in the return listing, which is significantly longer than this, but clicked to fit on the screen, you'll see that Joseph is the last listing. In this particular case, they're the only listing with a video. If you see the plus sign on to the right of each of those exhibitors, by clicking on that plus, buyers can add each exhibitor that they encounter to their briefcase. I'll show you what that does for them later on, but it is an opportunity at every turn for them to save you. Anticipating a question, you do not have access to those buyers who put you in their briefcase. They have asked us not to share that information. So in case you're about to ask that question, that is the answer. Now we click on Joseph and we go to their site, and we'll show it to you in two segments to make sure it all fits on the screen here. This segment frames a video. As you can see, the video is, that's the first frame of the video, and it's very simple to click. As you can see, they have more videos than 4, and there's a little arrow to the right of their videos. Again, a lot of these are demonstration videos showing product in use. Perfectly applicable for media, very applicable for store sales training. You can send folks here to train their store staff to do it. As you can see, they have, and again, as I mentioned, this is not current photography, but they have 4 products pictured here. Those products, and they could list more if they wished. The next slide shows you what a company description looks like. As you can see, this one's fairly brief, but it does tell you a little bit about the brothers who started Joseph, and enough certainly to make the media interested, and perhaps even some consumers, buyers perhaps. All of the contact information that's there, including your URL and your general company email, as you can see, those are both highlighted, which means they are linkable right through this site. The general company email is the company email you gave us on your space application. So that, and when you click on that, with most computers, it will pop up. It will pop up an email with that going straight to your address. Down below, you can see the contacts that they've listed that were part of the contact listing as I showed you when we walked through Housewares Connect 365. Nancy has very cleverly circled the number 1 on your right. If the buyer had clicked Joseph, it would have popped up a number 1. If they clicked 10 others, there'd be numbers up to 11 all over here. And below this would be a listing of the company name and the number indicated, so that, and the booth number, so that buyers can use this tool, print it out before they go, refer to it on show site to take a look at where to find you on the show floor. You're also findable in our app, which we'll talk about in a minute. The new product showcase is one of the very few things that we charge for. The new product showcases are located, there's one located in each building. They're in the buyers clubs. The items in there are scannable. If you had made the deadline of February 7th, you would have been eligible for the IHA Innovation Awards. Sadly, that judging is now completed. But even at $300, this is still an excellent value, and I'll continue to tell you why. The last day for entry is February 21st. This is the source of the innovation alert I mentioned earlier, which will be sent on March 5th. Couple of things that go on here. In the clubs, as the buyers come into the clubs, we give them a scanner. The buyers are able to scan the product. As you can see, this buyer is pointing at one of those scannable cards. We give them that scanner. They go around sort of like Bridal Registry. They go around and scan all the products they're interested in. They bring it back. We dock it, give them a list by booth number order of all the products they've scanned. Many buyers tell us this is the very first place they go to kind of orient themselves to what's new, what's going on at the show. It gives them kind of a thumbnail overview of what's going on in that building. As you can see, this was done in the electrics building. After they scan the back one, Nancy, if you would. After they scan the product, they give us back their handheld device. I mentioned we print it out. The week after the show, you will get a list of all of the buyers who scanned your product in the new product showcase. So that there's another one of those post-show opportunities to follow up. If they didn't come to your booth, even more of a reason to go follow up with them. And it will give you all of their information, including their email.
Perry, I have a couple questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Once the product information is created and submitted, can you go back and make updates later?
Say that again.
Once somebody submits their product information, it's created and submitted, can they go back and make updates?
Housewares Connect 365 is available for update any day of the year. And we encourage you to do that.
And there's some confusion between the Innovation Awards and the GIA Awards. They are not the same.
They are not the same. The Innovation Awards, which are no longer open, are an award for the general show. The GIA Awards really combine two awards, one for international retailers and one for products from a very specific section of the show.
And the product entry deadline for the Innovation Awards is already passed?
It's passed.
Okay.
It's passed, but you can still put product in the new product showcase. We are at a record number of submissions this year, and I suspect that that will continue to grow. When you submit your product to the new product showcase, you will get instructions on how to deliver a sample to us. There are a variety of ways to get that done, but that information will be sent to you as soon as you submit your product.
And when will the finalists be notified if they've been selected?
If you have already submitted a product and you were part of the Innovation Awards, the finalists will be notified either late this week or early next week. And
could you explain what the Innovation Alert is?
The Innovation Alert is a listing of all of the products submitted to the new product showcase. It is sent to every buyer in our database, domestic and international. It goes out on March the 5th, and it simply previews the company name, the product name, and the booth number for all of the products that are collected in the new product showcase.
And somebody needs further explanation on what the GIA Awards are.
The GIA Awards are a private awards program, only available to one class of exhibitor at the show, a very small group of exhibitors, and it also supports the international retail community and recognizes excellence in retailing. But it's an invitation-only process.
If the new product showcase item costs $300 to submit, what if they have a whole line of dinnerware and want to showcase one place setting? Would that cost more than $300?
Now, one place setting is a single item.
I think that's it at the time. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I recap any of that?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that deadline for new showcase is this Friday. That's a hard deadline.
It is. The logistics of putting this program together mean that we have to have product in motion starting next week to make sure that it all is displayed at the show. So on to the next. The specialty retailer program is one of the sort of dumber things that we do in a way. I mean, it's that is to say, it's one of those things that you bang your forehead and say, why didn't I think of that? The independent retailers tell us that they don't know which exhibitors are friendly to independent retailers. As many of you know, they have special needs for case packs and dating and shipping and so forth. And if you are interested in selling to independent retailers, we encourage you to join this program. It's free, it's simple. We'll put a sign in your booth that says specialty retailer friendly. It indicates that you're specialty retailer friendly. We'll even send you a little button that you're that your lead person who knows about how you treat specialty retailers can wear. In addition, if you want signs delivered to your booth, you have to commit to this program by Friday. However, if you decide later on that this is something you want to do, those signs can be picked up free of charge at the floor manager's desk located in each hall. The deadline by Friday would help you because it would be delivered to your booth on Friday before the show. I mentioned order writing at the show several times now, mostly in conjunction with show specials. But believe it or not, we get complaints from retailers that people aren't prepared at the show to write orders. It is, and interesting to us, in response to our survey after the last show, 50% of exhibitors who reported writing orders with U.S. specialty retailers. There are going to be people there who ask, who want to write orders with you. You may not want to write orders with them, but if you wish to, we hoped that we would be able to prepare you with this order form, which is online, and in the paper marketing kit you can make as many copies of it as you want. If you think this might happen to you, I'd encourage you to print a couple of copies off and bring it to your booth. But you will have buyers who will be interested in writing orders. We are now getting tremendous numbers of gift stores, museum stores, wineries, smaller retailers that have never been to the show before, and the shows they go to, they're accustomed to writing orders. And as a consequence, they have an expectation that you'll be able to do that. You can always check their credit later. You don't have to ship it now. But we would encourage you to be ready for them just in case. I will tell you a story about order writing at the show that goes back to the show special piece. One of our exhibitors told me after last year's show, and he's been telling me for several years and it continues to grow, that he wrote $200,000 worth of orders at the show. He had guaranteed show specials. He was working hard. Most of his business is independent specialty stores. They were there to write. He also, of course, tied up open to buy with all those retailers for quite a while by those specials. So I think it's important to be cognizant of the fact that order writing at the show is on the increase and that you should be ready for it. I mentioned earlier lead retrieval devices. This is a way for you to get buyer emails and media email addresses. We offer two choices of lead retrieval devices, that is to say badge scanning devices. One is a handheld, which does not require electricity in your booth. The other is a desktop model, which does require electricity in your booth. Both of them are activated by scanning the badge. The handheld will scan it through the buyer's badge holder. The desktop model, the badge needs to come out and be dipped into a slot on the model. As I mentioned, buyer and media email addresses. This is one of the very few ways you can get this at the show. We recorded 34,000 booth visits last year. And I can't tell you how many times I've talked to an exhibitor who gets back home and says, you know, all those business cards I collected at the show, I lost them. I can't find them. They're gone. I have buyers that come to me and say, you know, I was in that booth in the back of the South Hall and had a red back wall on it. Can you remember? Can you tell me who it was? All of that goes away if you use one of these units. Now, there are only 100 left. They're free. There are only 100 left. You do have to put a credit card down in case you lose it, but there are 100 left, and I would strongly encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to get one of those as soon as you possibly can. And again, you sign up for it at Housewares Connect, housewares.org/marketing. A couple other things to talk about. New for the home signs. Again, another kind of basic item. We tell buyers to look for these signs in booths where there are new products. They're free to you. Again, if you order them by Friday, we'll deliver them to your booth the day before the show. If you don't, you can pick them up at the floor manager's desks. But again, it's another way for you to highlight something new that may get a buyer to step off the aisle and into your booth. And I know these, as I've mentioned several times in these webinars, these are very popular. We see them all over the world. We see them at fairs in China. We see them at fairs in Europe. People take these signs with them and take them to other shows because they do work. I mentioned Made in USA. I think I've talked a little bit more about that already, but I will tell you that these signs are not available on ShowSite because you do have to validate your criteria through Housewares Connect 365.
Perry?
Yes.
I have a question regarding specialty retailers. Do they pay on site with a credit card?
There is no charge for the specialty retailer signs and buttons.
No, when you write orders to them.
Oh, up to you entirely. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Up to you entirely. Certainly, credit card is one way that that you can start doing business with these folks. Some of them may not want to give you the credit card yet. They may ask you to send them an invoice of some sort, but any way that you do your business regularly, you can do it that way there. There will be buyers, particularly with show specials, that will want to lock those show specials down, and some of that is done with credit card on the show site.
Some of it will also depend on who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a multiple store chain,
yeah, don't expect the Target or a Bed Bath & Beyond buyer to act in that way.
Or if you get a hospital gift shop, generally they don't have credit cards and they'll give you a credit sheet. So if you have questions about that, you can email me or call me after the webinar, and I can take you through some of that.
That was Nancy talking.
That's me. This is Nancy.
Again, show specials incentivize those buyers to come to your booth. Now let's talk about the after-show follow-up plan. I've already told you that you get that Buyer Connect data, both from the new product showcases and from your lead retrieval device that you have in your booth. Those both have email addresses. They will both be delivered the week after the show to you. In addition, although it takes a little longer to do, I think late April is probably pushing a little bit, probably mid-April, we'll have available to you the entire 2014 buyer list, both U.S., non-U.S., and as Debbie will tell you in a minute, the media list. That list will be purged, cleaned, researched, and about as clean as we can get a list to be. And you can also use that. I would encourage you to use that list to identify the people that didn't come to your booth, that you missed, that you know you need to follow up with. You may have sent a sample to a senior merchant at a retailer before the show, and they didn't show up. You certainly will want to follow up with them after the show. Hey, we missed you. The product's selling like crazy. We hope that you'll reconsider, that kind of thing. So again, create the concept for your follow-up plan before the show. Use the Buyer Connect data, business cards you collect in your booth, the 2014 buyer list, any tool that you can possibly use to help you follow up with those buyers. Again, there'll be 21,000 buyers, U.S. and non-U.S., on those lists. And I know they're not all going to stop at your booth. So look through them. I think if you take the 2013 and the 2014 list and put them together, I think you'll have an extremely meaningful list of buyers to target, not just at the show, but year-round.
I have a couple more questions.
Okay.
How can someone confirm that his team has secured a lead retrieval machine?
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure I know the answer. I would suggest that you check with your show sales manager and have them check for you.
Is there a phone number on this?
Is there a product displayed in the Going Green area? Is there a sign that goes in the booth for that?
The submissions for the Going Green and the Pantone displays are now closed. If you already have a product submitted and it is selected, you will receive a sign for both of them. Certainly for Going Green. Go ahead, Deb.
I didn't know we had signs for those, but in the exhibit there is a little sign by the product in both Pantone and Going Green with the company name and their booth number, so buyers would be able to see the product at the display and come to your booth.
But if you haven't entered already, unless there's some last-minute contact from us, that those submissions are closed.
Debbie, back to the lead retriever question to know if they've already signed up for one. I believe if you go into the marketing kit and look at the form for submission, there should be a phone number on there, and they can call the lead retriever company and have them look the record up.
That's actually a better solution. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Debbie, over to you.
Okay, now we're going to talk about how you can reach the consumer through the news media that come to the show. And the 2013 show, over the last 12 months or so, has generated 300 million consumer impressions in the news media. Now, you wonder, what's a consumer impression? That is simply the total number of Nielsen viewer numbers from any TV or radio broadcast that the show generated, plus the circulation number for newspaper and magazine clips and Internet articles if it's available, and then we add that up. We simply add those numbers up. I have monitoring services that provide that information to me, and that is how we determine the number of consumer impressions. Now, some of you may work with a PR agency, or there may be a PR agency listening to the webinar today, and you may use a multiplier and for the number, considering pass-along copies or more people watching a program at one time or something. We don't do that. We just do it the pure monitoring number that we get. So we could probably be hitting more than 300 million consumers over the last year. And I want to talk about some services that will help you get some of that exposure at the show. Now, you may wonder if I'm doing this on myself. No, I have a team of freelance PR people who are working with me right now to contact the media and let them know about the show and try and get them to come to the show or to cover the show and write about the products. And we're going to be talking about some services that you can help us help the media learn about your new products. So as Perry did with the buyers, I'm going to talk about the services before the show, during the show, and then after the show. And before the show, here's 4 things that we'd like you to do, take advantage of to help you get your exposure before the show. And the first one I want to talk about is the pre-registered media list. As Perry mentioned, we have the buyer list up there. We currently have the 2013 buyer list is up on the site. The pre-registered list for the 2014 show will be posted either later this week or early next week. I have that list that I am reviewing to make sure that we only have news media on there, and it is currently over 250 names that you'll probably be seeing, and you'll download it from the same site where the 2013 buyer and media lists currently are. So lists are password protected, as we've mentioned, with the company ID and the seniority number. If you are a PR agency, we cannot provide that information to you. You would have to get that from your client or have them download the list for you. So now when you see this list, we do include emails if they did give it to us when they registered. And I encourage you to go through the list and choose the consumer or the trade editors that you want to pitch to. If you're using the 2013 list from last year, I would not do a blanket pitch to everybody because some of those people are not coming back to the show this year. I've already had some calls from some bloggers and some editors who their beats have changed, and so they're not coming to the show. They don't cover Housewares anymore, but our exhibitors have done a really good job the last couple of months of pitching them about, the 2014 show, and so they wanted to be removed. But I would recommend that once we get that 14 list up later this week or next week that you start using that. And best of all, it's free. You don't have to pay anything for that information. Okay. If you've looked at the marketing kit and you've seen everything that we do and you say, I'm a small company, I just can't do it all, or we only have a few weeks left before the show, I can't take advantage of everything. If there's one service that you will do to get some media attention, I would highly encourage you to do this one, the new product information for the news media. These listings are free, first of all. They go in your Housewares Connect 365 listing, but they are only viewable by the news media through their 365 briefcase. So if you just go to Housewares Connect 365 and search your company and your listing comes up, you will not see these listings. A buyer won't see these listings. A consumer will not see these listings. Your competitors will not see these listings. Only approved news media, and I approve the briefcase, will see the listings if they go into 365 and they search through their briefcase. There is a special new product for the media search that they can do. The product, as I said, they're free listings. You can enter as many for new products that you have. If you have 35 new products, please enter a product listing for each. You can post one photo with the listing. There are about 20 different categories. So after you enter the information, you'll select a category under which the listing will be searched by. And those categories some relate to our show categories. Others are terms that the news media are going to be looking for. So it may not, you might be in the Dine and Design Expo and in tabletop kitchen essentials and gadgets, but your product may be something more for tabletop. Or it might be a kitchen gadget, or it might be a personal care item that you have. So you can choose which category you would like this item to be listed under, and then that is how the media search for it. And when they do the search, it comes up as the listings do in 365. It'll have your company name, it'll have the product name, the first line of your description, and your photo. And then the editor can click through to your listing for more information. To read about the product and see the photo. And then once they get to your 365 listing, all of the entries that you have entered through the service will be posted. This is available through, you can do it two ways. If you go to your 365 portal, which is the entry page that you see now, if you look under additional marketing opportunities, you'll see a link that says New Products for Media. And if you click that, that will take you to the exhibitor marketing page where you begin the entry. And the reason we did it this way was because a lot of agencies want to enter this information for their exhibitors. And they don't have the passwords to get to do in 365. So when you go to the marketing kit, all you have to do is enter the exhibitor's name, and then it'll search, our system will search for it, and it will come up, and you click on the company name, and then it'll take you to the data entry page, and you can start entering the information. An additional benefit of the service is that my PR team is currently searching all of these listings right now for products that they are working with the media. We have several TV segments that we've been approached about already, and so we're looking for some product to try and sell those, and this is one way we know about that new product. So I would encourage you, if you have not entered your listings yet, to please do so. I know we've had several hundred entered so far. And then these listings stay up year-round as well, and you can always you can update them too for the media. So then the second most question I'm asked after what's new, and that's where the new product for the media come in, is who's going to be at the show? What celebrities are going to be there? What celebrity chefs are going to be there? And this service, the special events product demonstration, is the way that you can enter that information in your 365 listing. You can also do it through the in-booth appearance entry in 365 when you're in your 365 entry, as Perry explained. In that left-hand navigation bar, there was one link that said in-booth appearance, or you can do it through the marketing kit. Again, as with the new product information, in the marketing kit, your PR agency does not have to have your Housewares Connect passwords, so they can just enter the information for you by entering the company name. And here's where you want to list your booth demonstrations, any special events, your celebrity or your designer appearances, because we are telling the media to go there and search. They have a special search for this in their briefcase as well. And we say the deadline for this is March 13th. You don't want to enter it after the show is over. You should enter it as early as you possibly can so the media can start searching and start looking. And also we'll pull a list so that we have it at the show to let any editors know, because they do get a lot of requests about that. And again, these listings are free.
Deb, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Somebody's asking, can a video be uploaded to their media area on Housewares Connect 365?
Not for the new product information for news media. That's only a photo. You can certainly post a video in your listing, as Perry mentioned earlier, that the media can see. When they go to your listing, they'll see all the videos. They will see everything that you posted in your listing along with these new product listings. But no, you can't do a video with them.
And when does the show notify exhibitors that they've been selected for media exposure?
If we've selected your product, if there's a TV segment or something, and we need you to be there to demonstrate it, we would let you know. Otherwise, after the show, we do send about 6 weeks to 2 months after, once we've collected, all of the media exposure that we've had. We do send exhibitors letters letting them know where their product appeared. But if it's something for TV and we need you there, we will let you know before the show or during the show.
Okay, perfect, Deb. Thanks.
Okay, now I want to talk about a couple of things during the show. And the first is the news center. And this is the headquarters for the media where they come. It's where they're going to come to pick up their badges because we do not pre-mail the badges to the media. We like to know who comes, and so we give them their badges at the show when, after they've registered. This is also where you can put your press kits for free. It's another free service from IHA. It's part of your booth space fee. We ask for 75 to 100 kits. We'll put the kits out in alphabetical order, by company, and the media, when they come, they will walk around and start to pick up the kits. And we have a photo of the news center. You can see this is how we put the kits up. We have a wall with these plastic bins, and as you can see, we like I said, we put them out alphabetical order by company. So if you're doing a paper kit, we encourage you to put the company name, maybe a photo on it. If you're doing a CD, you will want to have the company name and the label on the CD. Or if you're doing a thumb drive, we have capability. A lot more exhibitors are doing thumb drives, and we can put those out in little bins. But make sure that you put a hang tag with the company name on there so the editor knows whose kit they're taking. I will tell you that thumb drives are one of the first things to go, and I don't know, it's mostly because they want your information, but they're also, a handy little gadget to use later after the show. I'm still a visual person. I know a lot of people are visual, and having a paper kit, I've seen editors, they'll look through the kits as they're taking them to see what your products are. So, we still do get a lot of paper kits, but it's up to you which version you want to use. We can accommodate anything. Just the major thing is make sure you put your company name on there. We also give the media boxes for them to pack up their kits, and then we ship, after the show is over, we ship the kits back to their offices with the boxes that they packed up. I cannot ship any kits that are left over back to you, but you are most welcome to come on Tuesday and see if we have any kits left and take them. If we have a lot of kits left, we'll just keep 1 or 2, and you can take the extras, back to your booth and take them back home with you. But I can't ship them back to you, but we do ship them. We let the media pack up the kits, and then we ship them back to them. If you don't know how to put together a press kit in the marketing kit, we do have, there's a tip sheet called How to Put Together a Press Kit, and it'll give you the information on what to include in there. Now, if you say, I want to do one, but I don't know how to write a press release, we do offer a service. It is paid. It's one of the few things that IHA charges for. And it's called the Virtual Press Release Writer Service. And all you have to do is go online and answer some simple questions about your company, your booth number, where you're located, the product name, the product description, and then when you hit enter, it will be merged into a press release. Within 48 hours, you will get a Word document with this press release. It's very professionally written. Then you can print it on your letterhead. You can post it in your 365 listing. You can put it, in your press kit for the news center. You can, put it on your website. That press release is yours to own. And the cost is $75 per release, and it is done by a third-party vendor who is she's very reputable. She actually is my counterpart at another trade show, so she knows what she's doing, and she knows what the exhibitors want and what the media wants. Now, I want to take a moment just to talk about media registration. As I mentioned, the media have to come to the news center to get their badge. As you know, buyers have a green badge, news media has a blue badge. And we break the media down into 3 different classifications. Everyone will have a blue badge, but what it says on the badge will be different. One will say news media, and that is for your traditional print and broadcast media, your newspapers, magazines, TV stations, radio stations, everyone that you traditionally would think of as media. Then we have internet media, and that is for the news websites, any internet-based publications, the editors for maybe a print publication that they handle their websites. That would be internet media. And then our third is blogger. And this would be for your typical, your mommy bloggers, your foodie bloggers, for anybody that they have a website and they're blogging. And that's what they do. It's not a general news site or traditional news media. They are a blogger, and so we have a blogger badge. And we want you to know that publicity is free. At IHA, we do not give salespeople or public relations people or account reps media badges. They are trade guests. So if someone comes into your booth and they start to talk to you about advertising and they're wearing a blue badge, a blue news media badge, please let me know, and we won't let them be media for the future. Only, publicity is free. The editors should not be charging you or asking for a sponsorship. And that is quite common with some video crews. So if you have, we try and vet the media pretty well, but if sometimes they do lie to me, and so if somebody comes in, they just start saying that, we'll shoot a video for you to put on your website and to put on our website, but, you have to pay a sponsorship fee. That's not media, and let me know about that. Now, some of you may work with PR agencies. If you don't, I do have a list of PR agencies that I've worked with over the years that I'm happy to share with you. If you're interested, it goes most of them are the small entrepreneurs. There are some medium-sized and some large agencies, but I think there might be somebody for every budget out there. And then lastly, after the show, at the same time that the buyer list is available, as Perry said, in mid-April, the final 2014 media list will be there. We encourage you to use this list to follow up with the media who attended the show. They may not have stopped at your booth, so be sure to send them your information. And you'd want to use this list for your year-round pitching. And then also we encourage you to update your Housewares Connect 365 listing throughout the year. And as you saw earlier, one of the contacts in your listing is a public relations contact. If you have one, whether it's you're an in-house person or if you have an agency person you want to list, I encourage you to make sure you list that person because I'll get calls all the time from editors wanting to know a contact at a company, and so I'll send them to 365, or I look it up in 365 and to see who's listed. So I really encourage you to make that one of those contacts, filled out. And then lastly, as Perry mentioned, we do press events to help our members and our exhibitors have exposure with the consumer media. Our next one will be June 3rd. They're in New York City. It's called Housewares for the Holidays, and it's an opportunity for IHA members to promote their new products coming out for that all-important fourth quarter selling season to the consumer editors. We usually get about 40 to 50 editors attending. Some of you may have participated in events done by other companies, and they're pretty expensive. They could be anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500. Ours are very reasonable. It's $950 for one company representative, and you'll have 4 hours to meet with these media and talk with them and explain your new products to them. Information on this event will be sent to the PR contact at IHA member companies in early April. I need to get back from the show and recover a little bit, and then we'll get this information out to you. It's limited to 40 companies, and it does sell out quickly. So as soon as you see that email, or if you see a listing in Housewares Smart Brief, please sign up for the event if you want to participate.
To kind of double up on what Debbie's talking about the press events, we've been doing these now for a dozen years or close to it. And we are absolutely convinced that we are the best value Of course, as a not-for-profit trade association, our goal is to break even and make sure that we bring value to you. And we feel that these events are very strong. There are two pieces of evidence that I think I can cite with that. One of them is that virtually every trade magazine in our industry comes to these because they use it as an opportunity for them to find what's new to write about. But also the PR firms that Debbie mentioned occupy more than half the tables at these events because they recognize, even though they're professionals in this business, they recognize that even with all the other choices that Debbie mentioned, that these are still reasonable events, reasonably priced events. I think the value is amazing. You get another list of media before the event. You get a list of media after the event. Those who came, because we get a lot of walk-ups at these events. So I would encourage you to consider this if this is something that, if consumer attention is something you're interested in. So with that, I think our job is to wish you good luck at the show. We'll put our email addresses up there again one more time, and our phone numbers. Nancy and Debbie and I will be happy to help you in any way. Please send us an email, give us a call. I gathered from some of the questions that some of the things we said today might have been a little confusing to you. If the person who's asking the question about GEO would like to call me, I'd be happy to help them out with that.
I have one last question, Deb.
Yeah.
About how many media kits or thumb drives would you suggest would be appropriate for marketing kits, media kits?
We ask for 75 to 100 for the press room. You know, some of the larger brands send more. You can always stop down during the show and ask how we're doing, if we need more kits, and you can always bring us more.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any other questions, Deb?
Nope, that's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
With that, we wish you good luck at the show. We'll see you there in 3 weeks. We'll see you there, and we'll all be ready. As I think some of you know, our registration number, the show itself is sold out and has been for a while. The registration numbers for buyers and news media and international buyers, domestic buyers, are all running significantly ahead of this time last year. I think that shows optimism in the industry, and we look forward to seeing you in Chicago. Let us know if we can do anything else to help you. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.